Taking your money international, why would you do it? Stay tuned.
Morning.
Good morning.
How you going?
Good. You?
Good.
Blue skies? Blue skies everywhere.
I know. But it was 4 degrees when I left the house this morning.
Yeah. When's first day of winter? 1st of June?
Yeah.
I missed it.
June, July, August.
Damn.
Mm,
Yeah, it's definitely hit, hey.
I know. I don't mind it though.
Yeah, I love it. You know what? I love 3 months of it. If it was a year of it, like if I was in a country like that, no way. But no, I love it.
Yeah, me too. It's more the dark, the early, the less sun. If it was sunny and cold, it'd be fine, like all day.
It's true.
Yeah.
So, Jess, tell us about international. You're a well-versed, well-studied lady for international purchases of property. We're going to share that information with people this morning. And is it a big thing?
Yeah, so I think we talk about all the time now the borders are opening, people coming in Australia to invest, but we don't really talk about that often, Australians going overseas to purchase. So thought it would be good to maybe talk about that. The 5 biggest countries where there's the most Australian expats are the UK, the US, New Zealand, China, Germany, I think. Yeah.
Really?
Oh, and Canada, sorry, 6. Germany's in there as well, which I thought was interesting. But yeah. So we've got some information on those countries and what the rules are for purchasing there. And it's good because they're all very different. I mean, the UK is not part of the EU anymore. The US is separate. Some Commonwealth countries, some Asian countries. So it's a good mix.
Yep. Does it go back to heritage, you reckon?
I think maybe. Also, generally, like attracts like. So people generally go to places where there's people similar to them. So I think that's why the UK, the US, New Zealand, and Canada are the places where most Aussies go, because they're all English-speaking countries, and like attracts like. You go where you're comfortable.
Cheaper?
Generally, yes, but there's pockets where not so much. For example, in the UK, there's some overall cheaper, but some pockets where it's more expensive. The US overall cheaper, but then you take into account the difference in currency, which then also increases the price. Plus, in some countries, there's different additional costs as a foreigner that you have to pay.
Got it.
Yeah.
You're an expert. You're an expert on this.
We should probably talk about some of the reasons why people want to go.
Yep. Work.
Yeah. Big one.
So you're working there and you go, you know what, don't really want to rent, sort of want to buy. I've had this arm wrestle with my brother-in-law, and I'm saying you got to separate it. You got to look at what performs better. And historically, Sydney, like he's in Singapore, and historically Sydney's always outperformed Singapore. So I'm like, mate, go when you're making your investment, go with a known commodity.
Yeah, that is true. But in the same vein, some people do it purely to diversify. So for example, even if we take like the floods in Queensland, if you had all of your properties in that one spot, in that one flood-prone area, and then something happened, then your whole portfolio is affected. So some people go international for the purpose of just like a security blanket, both for location, for like geographical, political, whatever situations happen, but then also for like currency, to avoid currency risk and different things like that as well.
I see superannuation companies doing that. So buddy of mine at the moment was dealing with Boston Superannuation. Another buddy of mine investing on their behalf in Sydney property. Another one, I think it was superannuation company out of it's on the tip of my tongue. The guys where it's crazy town when you go and live there, and it's it's in Europe. Anyway, yeah. So a lot of those superannuations that have $500 million to invest, they'll take their money to different countries for that diversification reason.
Yeah. It's super common. And I was actually talking to my grandma about this last night, and she was telling me about one of her friends that had bought a property in Indonesia. And they kept a property here as well, purely for the security reason of having diversified portfolio, not just having it in one, not putting everything into Indonesia. And lucky they did, because the woman died. So here, if you die, your children inherit the asset. But the government came and took the property because they went, you don't own the land, we own the land, you just own the house. Now that you're not there anymore, and they took it off her completely. Like nothing could be done. It just is what it is. So there's always risks in diversifying by internationalizing the portfolio, but in the same vein, there is benefits. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. What's Lisa got to say? Lisa Kramer.
We are seeing a lot of buyers looking to purchase in Sydney from Asia, South Africa, and the US.
She's a buyer's agent. That's really interesting. I did think that was going to happen because we've experienced a sea change and a tree change on a national scale. So, for instance, someone on the northern beaches, been there for 30 years, COVID hit, they've cashed out, they've sort of gone for a sea change, tree change, maybe up north further, down south further. So people went one rung outwards from where they were for a sea change or a tree change. But it was never an international sea change or tree change. So I think a lot of people who have aspired to Sydney in their life since COVID hit are going, nah, let's do it now.
Yeah,
and they're coming here.
Yeah. Very interesting. And again, high risk investing overseas. There is high risk definitely in investing overseas. Depending where you go, you can take a calculated risk. It's also high risk staying in one location, I think, sometimes.
Yeah. So UK would probably be the most parallel to our laws. We've adopted a lot of their laws and systems and stuff. So I think if you wanted a safe bet internationally, that would probably be one to go to. Are you seeing a lot of money go overseas?
I don't know how much is being spent overseas from Australians investing internationally. I don't know the numbers. Yeah. But what you're saying about the UK, it's actually very similar process for purchasing in the UK. The only thing now is slightly more expensive because of Brexit. So that's going to affect international investment. So it's kind of, the advice overall is whatever country you go to, generally, unless there's a law from the government. So some countries like Thailand and China, there's rules on foreign ownership. In China, you can't buy a property if you're a foreigner. In Thailand, I think you have to have a spouse that's Thai in order to purchase. There's some countries like that. But overall, the general rule of thumb is that if you're a cash buyer, no worries. If you have to get a mortgage, it's very tricky in whatever country.
Well, that's a good point. Leveraging money internationally is going to be like super hard if it's not cash. When I was talking about superannuation before, they were they're bringing cash to the country and then investing it from there. But I guess if you don't have a domestic income and you're taking your money overseas, it's got to be cash because you don't have an income in that country, so it's going to be harder. Any interest? Any interest in buying a property internationally for you or anyone out there? Let me know. What do you reckon for you? Interest?
I'd want to one day, but I think it would be more of a because one of the things that also you have to think about, you can buy a property overseas, but it doesn't mean you have the visa to spend a long time there. So I'd like to buy one eventually. It's like a holiday place, not somewhere you can live. And you've also got to think about, like in the US, a lot of people that want to buy in the US, you get a 90-day visa to purchase, like the standard one to purchase property and spend time in the US. Once you've purchased, you can only get a 6-month visa. So it's not as simple as buying and then moving.
Ooh. But I do have to say, and people have got to be really careful with their money when it comes to investing in property. The romance of Paris, New York, whatever the country, Bahamas, whatever the country you're attracted to, do not get that confused with investing in money. It's two different things.
Yeah.
Very, very different things. And a lot of people will invest with their heart and not with their brain, which is passion investing. And I think you've got to be really careful about that internationally, because people buying, even domestically, people buying a property on a holiday, it does happen, where they're just having such a grand old time. They walk into the showroom for something and they go, oh, I just love it here. I'm just so happy. I'm just in a good place. There's my money. So I think you've got to be really, really careful about buying offshore for that reason, that it's not just a love affair that you're having. It is a calculated, mathematical, great investment.
And I think one of the things as well is something can look really great on paper and you can think, oh, this is a... So, for example, you might see a house in Florida that is quite good value and you think, awesome, I'll buy it, and you've never seen it, or you've seen it once or twice, not realizing that area is a really bad area. It's got all these problems. You can't rent it out, whatever. Same goes buying domestically. Like sometimes people talk about buying out of area without talking to people that live out of area about that spot.
Yep.
So I think you need to go there, and then not only go there, but have someone nearby, not necessarily an agent, just someone to talk to about that specific area, that street even.
And also, look, even if you're going to a buyer's agent from that area, there's still going to be influence of a sort for that area, because they're living in that area. But how do you know whether it's good for you? It's a really, really hard one. Overall, buying overseas, going international, what's your punt? Like it? Don't like it?
I'm all for it. I think businesses do it all the time. They operate internationally purely to spread their wings all around the world. The world's becoming smaller and smaller. So I think, Why would you not do it if you're trying to diversify your investments? That's my opinion on it.
I'm against it.
If you had to purchase overseas, where would you buy?
Miami.
Oh yeah, that'd be so...
I'm just thinking emotionally about this one, but I like something that we haven't spoken about today is using that equity to purchase another property. Can't be done.
Yeah.
So unless you can possibly do it in that country for another one in that country, but I think too, the nice thing about if you're buying a property in Australia, if you want to use that equity to go onto your potentially your second or third property, it's not a hard thing. But if you've bought that second property overseas, it's isolated. It's a little bit like superannuation. It's quarantined to itself, and you can't use any of the money that you've made in that property to pull out to buy another property in another country. You're stuck to that country. So I think be careful.
I was doing some research with because there has been more purchasing internationally, there's a few specialized mortgage brokers, and it is possible to use equity in Australia to purchase overseas. That is something you can do. And I think, so in some countries, there is, so like the UK, they have specialized brokers that can help you find ways to do that. But it's not every country, and it's not standard, and it's difficult, but there are ways to do it.
International buying with Team Novak. Hope we've helped you out today. Any comments anyone else would like to make, please throw them at us. We'll love them. They help us. They help our audience. And Jess, what are you up to today? Anything exciting?
I've got some photos, floor plans, valuation, buyer appointments, busy day.
Flat out.
Yeah, what about you?
Thursday is always a better day for me in the office. I think the Monday to Wednesday is always like 100 kilometres an hour, and then the Thursday, Friday clicks down to 80 kilometres an hour. I love it. Catch up on all my emails. good day. All right, legend. Everyone have a beautiful day out there, and take care, Jess. Thank you.
You too. Bye.
International Jess. See ya.